As I stand before you, my people, on this day of jubilant celebration, I say to you, will we find the devil in the bushes? No. He will be perched high on the peace tree, devouring the sucking of fruit as the poverty weeds lay waste in the field. So revel not in the fascinations of man and realize the accountability of the just and unjust. For at that moment, may we all be caught up like a rushing wind to meet on that jumbo jet flight we call life.
To do what the hell? No. Welcome to Do the Damn Show. I'm your host, the tatted, the fatted, the one and only Casey Hughes. And with me, as always, in the studio, co-host and producer,
I don't know, Farron or
SuperFaron.
I'm leaning towards OTF. I mean, I'm leaning towards it.
It's already now. The email's written.
Oh, okay.
SuperFaron.
I could still be OTF.
You can
just
still
have
be
a
OTF.
SuperFaron OTF.
And Josh Harris.
Josh Harris.
Josh, welcome.
Thanks, man.
OJH.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when it's spit at you? Hey, now what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when it's spit at you? Hey, now what you gonna do? Can I leave my family fortune and still take on no more care? Will the next bed that I take reveal it there? Could you lend your hand for me? Take all my wants and not my needs. I wanna lay my riches up on the other side. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when it's spit at you? Hey, now what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when it's spit at you? Hey, now what you gonna do?
And we're back. Back.
I love it when we
And yeah, dare to do the roll.
our thing.
Do the
You know,
thingy.
a lot of shows that have been on for a long time, they'll have a thing like that. They always do. You know, like here's Johnny.
Johnny.
A lot of stories. So that's our thing, I guess.
That's our thing.
We're back.
And we're back.
We're back, and that's our catch thing. That and Casey makes thousands of T-shirts, and I've got hundreds of nicknames.
Yeah. That's the best thing about it. You know,
Sure.
the and thing started because the first couple of times I didn't know how to segue back. It actually just started out as and we're back.
And we're back.
So now you get what we have here.
Oh, well,
you
and
know,
it comes. I mean, it's like your thing now, man.
it's everything in life has been that way. If you think about it,
Oh,
everything
yeah.
we do
Yep.
is like the product of something else.
Yeah.
That either worked
Segueing
right or
into the
didn't
next
work right.
act.
Yeah, I'm the king of segues except for hot dogs. But now it's a thing, dude.
Hot dogs are a thing.
Hot dogs are
And
a
it's,
thing.
It's great because Jason Such, who is the exclusive sponsor of our show with Primetime Lawn Care,
Yes, sir.
doesn't like get it. He's cool with it.
He's cool
He's
with
like,
it.
whatever y'all want to do, man.
Yeah.
But I think he wonders why in my ad is there a hot dog
Is there a hot
pushing the
dog?
lawnmower? Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. But hey, it works, and you won't forget it.
That's true.
And something else that we haven't forgotten in a while is 256-606-3064.
3064. I was
And
going to
that's-
get it right this time.
And that's how you can get in touch with Jason Such at
Yeah.
Primetime Lawn Care.
You know what? Several people have too. It's really cool because, like, he told me that, you know, there's people saying because they heard about it on the show, and then there's those people then are turning around and telling other people because he does such a good job. So yeah.
That's one thing. Jason is one of probably the OCDest person
Oh yeah.
I've ever met in my life.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I could work for Jason. I love him
Well,
to death.
if
Jason,
he-
I love you. I do.
Jason,
I don't know if I could work for you.
If he's going to do something, then he's going to do it like to the best and right.
Oh yeah,
I
It's
haven't-
gonna be-
never
it's
gonna
gonna
have
be-
to do
It's going to
anything.
be done right.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't say I've worked with Jason, but I have, or for Jason, but I have worked with him at Hands, like been
Yeah.
around him
Yeah.
with all that, you know.
Yeah.
And he's definitely a leader. When
Right.
he steps
Oh, yeah,
up,
through and
when he
through,
steps
man.
in there, you just know that he's in charge, whether he is or not. He
Yeah.
just has that person.
Well, this was my coolest story of the week. I'm driving down the road and I get a phone call and I see it on my screen. You know, it's Jason, so I answer. Hey, what's up? He said, hey man, I just got another job because of somebody hearing it on the show. I said, hey, that's cool. I love that. That's awesome. He said, yeah, you want to hear the bad news? I said, the bad news? He said, yeah, it was your ex-wife. That's a true story. That really happened.
So-
Some of the studio's looking,
It's looking great, man.
Yeah, dude.
So most of this is the incredible artistic creativity of Casey here, but we're also having people that are like, hey, I got something great for the studio. We'll be getting people donating the coolest, craziest stuff, man.
Yep. Some of my
Something like
favorite stuff, dude. These two, they can't see the one, but the one they can see right there beside Josh, it says Fake Smile.
Yeah.
That's from a young lady here in town. Her name is Patience. And her mom sells her artwork on Facebook for $5-10 a pop. And
That's
so
awesome.
I've bought two now.
Yeah.
So we've got Patience's artwork in here.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. My daughter does that kind of stuff too. Is this whose is this?
That's Sean Dickinson.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's
killer, too.
that's a Sean Dickinson original
That is
right there.
killer.
We've
That
al-
one was $20. We're not going to talk about that one. We're not gonna,
well, we've also got
She
a
needs to stay with it.
coming
Yeah.
soon. Coming soon,
Awesome.
we've got a big concrete tiger.
Yep.
Courtesy of Everyday Sunshine and Jeff
Everyday
Sharp. He
Sunshine.
had an episode.
Yep.
And you showed me a picture of something super cool.
yeah, right there.
Oh, it's right there.
Yep.
Holy cow.
That is
Please
it.
tell us the story.
So-
Can you see it? Yeah, you can see
Yeah,
it.
you can see
Let
it.
me move out of the way.
That comes from the African village in America. There is a gentleman in Birmingham, Alabama, who has dedicated his entire property to just doing folk art, like in an African style. And I'm pretty sure the old guy's batshit crazy, but he loves God. Like, he loves God, and all of his messages are so positive. And I had an opportunity to get one of his pieces on my way home the other day. So I brought it
That
in here.
is
And
the coolest.
yeah, he's.
bad, man.
It's on Nassau Street, and is that how you say it? Nassau. What's the old pirate community
that-
like in the
yeah.
Bahamas?
Yeah.
Is it Nassau?
Nassau? I say
Nassau.
Nassau. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
you're talking about, I might be saying it wrong too, but I think
But
it's
that's
Nassau.
Nassau Street in Birmingham. You can find it on like Atlas Obscure or something. It's if you're ever going through Birmingham, it's worth going by and see it. Now it's a junkyard just full of cool, funky folk art, but it was a big thing for me. to be
Until
able to
you
have
sent
one
me
of
that
his pieces.
text, I'd never heard of it, and now I'm planning to go. I want to check it out.
Yeah, it's- Josh, welcome to the shit
up,
show.
man? Good to be here.
Welcome
Wait.
to the circus.
It's only been like 6 months in the making.
Well, and look at the time. Josh, it's good to have you here. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
That was I got a short story anyway, so
Oh yeah, right. Whatever. I got a feeling Josh is gonna be a multiple
you barely know
returning-
me, man.
I know,
6
man.
weeks.
But you were telling
He's
me
known me
3
years
years?
longer than
Yeah.
you,
Well,
and we've only met
years.
one time. Like you ever heard Ron Swanson on Park and Rec when he says he said some of my best friend we still never talk sometimes. That's how good of friends we are.
we're talking Sunday morning because we were at the same church, and we were talking, and he started telling me. I was like, well, what kind of stuff are we gonna talk about? And he started telling me, and I was like, oh dang, this might be a mini series.
Oh, dude, it's
It'll be like Yellowstone. We'll just do a spinoff. every 3 months we'll have a spinoff for Josh.
it's one. Well, it's crazy because a lot of it was caused by church, and I tried to fix it with church too. So that
Yeah.
caused a lot more. It's like a endless
Domino
cycle
effect.
that I kept finding myself in.
So I want to touch on something real quick, and then I want to jump into that. Is you and I met in a Harbor Freight parking lot.
Yeah, we did. I thought you were
Because-
going to rob me. That part's true. I really thought you were going to rob me.
Because you have a 68?
No,
or
71 with
71.
a 67 hood.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And Daven was with me, and at the time she was wanting to build a truck.
Yeah.
Turns
Yeah, I was
out,
gonna say 71. What? What are you talking about?
C10.
C10.
Yeah.
So it turns out I buy her truck, and she quits her job, and our deal was I'll pay for half the parts if you pay for half of it.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's still sitting on jack stands because you can't buy any parts. But the truck is what stopped me to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then I think it was a couple of days later, maybe we exchanged phone numbers or something
did.
because you had the cab
Yep.
that I never picked up. that
You had a cab that's
Yeah,
behind my shop at my house.
that I told so many people, like, dude, I finally got my cab.
48 Ford.
Yeah,
Just
like
like
I can begin to build this, and I was messing around in the shop, and then I got a golf cart, and I got this.
Dude, it's
this.
still there if you want it. Man.
Yeah, I need to do that, but it's one of those things. Like, I think it's super cool how God works in the sense of it was just a very simple introduction.
I actually met Farron just as weird as I met you. It was at Vintage Sundays.
Yeah. So
Super cool thing.
Oh,
by
I
the way.
love
Yeah.
that. Lindsay
dude.
is the coolest.
Shout out to
If
Lindsay.
you
shout out
listening.
to Lindsay Shea Staggs.
I don't know her
She-
that well. I just support her.
She
because
got me
of
for
like-
2 records the other day.
About some stuff, but-
Lindsay's got a crazy story too, man, about how she got to where she's at and some
Yeah.
of the things that she's been through. And I don't know all of it. I just know a little small snippet of it. But
Well, now we got to make her be on the show.
she's been able to achieve something in a city where she shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Her
I
business
agree.
should not have survived
Yeah.
in the market that it has.
Right.
And so she has a natural talent
Well,
for making that happen.
She's just
Well,
a
and-
nice person.
Yeah,
A genuine
yeah,
person.
yeah.
I've always been a Christian, but I haven't been
Devout.
Dude, I do not fit in, man. I never fit in, man.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, I got to where like it was. Sometimes it is rebellion because they'll say, "Hey, don't dye your hair purple," so I go dye it pink and go back to church.
Yeah, you didn't say shit about pink. You just said purple.
You know what I'm saying? Like I did that stuff as a kid, but I grew up really, really poor. Like dirt poor. I'm talking single wide trailer from 1972. Pull the bed away from the wall when it rains. Poor. You know what I mean?
Like hot dogs and macaroni.
Yes,
poor.
like that's my dresser. Pull the drawer out. I got a pet rat in there. I'm feeding him to it at night. That kind of poor.
Oh, wow.
So I bounced around a lot, and my mom, she's still alive, but she never was around much. She just she wasn't a Christian. I think she got into church when I got an adult, but when I was a kid, she didn't go to church or nothing. But my grandparents did, and they would always take me to church and everything. But they were very legalistic people, and my mom and dad divorced. My dad was a biker. He never was home much, but I didn't see him much. There's very much one of them kind of stories of Southern kid where the mom is keeping the kids from the dad, and the dad's just, some of the best times I ever spent in my life was with my dad, but I never got to see him because, if the child support wasn't right or whatever, and my grandparents didn't like him, so it was always back and forth. Well, that was pretty much my whole childhood up to 15, just an argument and all that. But my grandparents kept taking me to church, man, every Sunday, man. And when I turned 15, that's when my life changed. That's when everything, I never fit in at church. I never was cool with those kids. I was always the poor kid. My grandparents didn't want to raise kids, but they were taking care of me because they didn't want to see me go into the system or nothing, I think. And my mom would get me, but she was in and out of hospitals and stuff. And when I turned, I think it was 11 or 12, she'd been married probably 4 or 5 times. And anyway, to that point.
What a horrible person.
I think she was. I think at that time she was married 3.
The subtle slight.
I know, right?
This dude, these dudes would beat. They wasn't like you, Farron. They'd beat the dog. They'd beat the brakes off of me, man.
Oh, jeez.
And anyway, she married a guy around, I think I was 11 or 12, and I'd been living with her for a year or 2 then. And he was all right at first, but then when I turned 15, my dad shot himself. And I probably, if you cumulated all the years I spent with him up to that point, I probably only got 3 years with my dad total. Yeah. And they were the best times of my childhood. But when he shot himself, pretty much that summer she kicked me out, And so it was.
You said you were 15?
Yeah.
So that's a complete derailment at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
Life was over, man.
Yeah.
I had no will to live. That was the first time that I was done. I tried to hang myself with a belt, and it.
Hey, you're part of the belt club.
I couldn't get it to work,
Yeah.
Couldn't get it to.
And this still at 15?
Yeah, I was 16 when I did
16,
that.
yeah. God.
I think I turned 16 when my mom kicked me out or something like that. And so it was rough, man. It was like there's so much about it I don't remember because I would get in this fog, like where I remember playing this game all the time. I talk to my kids about this, where I would imagine a better life and try to live there. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to live in fixing a truck or something like that.
Yeah.
And after Dad died, they took me to his funeral. That was one of the worst. That was what sent me. He had shot himself in the eye and blew his brains out, They had an open casket, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
So
my stepmom was a stripper, which my dad was rock and roll, man. He was everything we are, but I can't imagine being in his shoes and not getting to see my kids.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what I would do.
That's the only reason I made it back from Vegas.
Yeah.
I moved to Vegas, and it lasted very, very short. But it was Davin. That was the only reason I came back.
I don't think I could do it, man. I don't think I could not see them. Know they exist. Know they're there.
Yeah.
And when I seen him in the casket. It was twofold because one, sometimes when you go to I hate funerals, man. I don't enjoy them. I don't do the whole Southern, let's get together and love, fellowship, and all that. I don't like them because of this. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing for people to do.
Yeah.
Closure is an amazing thing, but when I seen him, like where he's done that, it was all makeup. Dude, that was the worst thing to see. He had long black hair. He was my dad was a Native American, which you wouldn't tell looking at me. My mama was blonde hair and blue eyed, but he was had this real pretty long black hair. You could tell that it messed it up, and dude, it was awful. And I remember they took me to the house where he was at. Me and my uncles were really cool to me, his two brothers, but there were some people there that I remember he had my dad had a half brother or step brother or something. I remember him saying, this is your and your brother's fault. This is on you, and dude, I lost it. I mean, swinging, just, we're done, we're not talking no more. And during all that, though, that sent me into a depression. That was the first time I ever dealt with that. And I remember I was 16, man. I was living in this trailer with my friend, and I was done. I was like, there is no point to life, man. This is how it ends. Like, if this is how it ends for him, this is how it's going to end for me.
Yep.
So I strung a belt up, popped it in the top of this part of this bed that was high, and it just kept breaking. And I remember getting so mad that I tore the bed apart and had just a breakdown,
Yeah.
And then I was doing pretty bad, and I moved back in with my grandparents, and I paid my grandma, like weekly, to live with, rented a room from her. And through all this, I was going through all this, dude, just bad stuff alone, didn't have nobody. My grandparents were, my grandma was a amazing person, but my grandpa was very abusive, and he would smack you around, like, I'm not talking like a slap, he'd punch you, and he just wasn't a very good fella. So you didn't really have anybody to talk to, you know? And so I went through, man,
where was this? Was it here? Was it in this area?
Curry,
okay.
We're like an hour and a half from here.
Yeah, I know where it's at. I think I've passed through it.
Yeah. That's about all you do.
Yeah.
But it was just, dude, that was 4 years there where that was my life, just dark, man, just twisted up. And I got in, that was where I really sunk into music, which saved my life. But it was in that area, there's nothing but churches, kind of like it is, everywhere else you go in the South.
Is there a Spring Avenue in Curry?
I think there is, actually. Okay. I know there's a Spring Garden Chinese restaurant. But
I wish our Spring Avenue had a Chinese restaurant.
They got a Dollar General and a Chinese restaurant.
I think they even got a Walmart now. It's in Jasper right there.
But it didn't have 75 churches on 3 mile in a 3 mile spot like our Spring Avenue. I'm
gonna tell you something.
We got to you were talking about in Curry with your grandparents. Yeah. And going to church.
Yeah, they would drag me to church, and I didn't fit in. And I was not one of those kids.
Yeah.
I played baseball a little bit, but that was only to try to fit in. My grandpa wanted me to. I didn't play ball. I wanted to play music, and the only thing you could play around there, I wasn't old enough to be in a bar, so, we played at church if you wanted to play somewhere. So music has saved my life in that sense, because that was what drove me into music. That's one of the reasons I love it now. And then I didn't force it on my kids. This is what's beautiful about our band and stuff, is my kids started doing it on their own and knew I did it. And they were like, Dad, I want to be in a band. And I'm like, dude, I know just the guy.
Yeah.
Your mom plays bass. If you'd have
pushed them, they wouldn't have done it.
No, I never pushed it. But I do, like now I'll say, we got practice, or we're going to play Friday night. And it bums my daughter out if she can't be there. You know what I mean? She's
that's awesome.
Like, oh, man, I got to work, Dad, or something like that. And that, it's cool, but never forced it on them. Never, and that brought it full circle back to us playing in a band together. Same thing with religion, Don't force it on them. It might come right The Bible says
Yeah.
raise them up in the way they should go, and they won't depart from it.
Right.
Doesn't mean they'll always be perfect.
Right.
Just means they'll come back to it, I think. But anyway, my grandparents raised me up like that, but my grandpa was one of those people. I don't want to get too much into it, but he had a secret kind of life. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
never was bad to me, but there were girls in our family and stuff that as I got older, I found out some things, you know, and he was abusive to me, beat my ass and stuff, but he done some bad things, you know, and so as I got older, the more it took, like I was thinking, I remember my dad, I was sitting at the tailgate with my truck, of a truck with my dad one time, and my dad said, I was talking about my grandparents, and I was like 10, you know, and my dad said, whoever was standing there, he said, yeah, they're all good Christian people. They're great Christian people. I didn't know it at the time because I didn't know what sarcasm was, but I didn't know that he was he was putting them on a pedestal for a reason because he knew that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as I got older, we had a few talks where he, you know, explained some things to me. But then I got older, and I started realizing that the people that were telling me that my dad was the worst person I could be around were actually the worst people I could be around,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Like, these people are not for me.
Yeah.
My dad, even though, yeah, he might smoke a little, he might drink, he might do all this, he might be married to a stripper. It just means he's living his life, man, and
Right.
he's happy with who he is and where he's going, you know?
Yeah.
And the day before my dad shot himself, he went to church again. And it was the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
And he just, it was like he was, I don't know this, but just me thinking about it and knowing him, I think that he was looking for that answer, and he
Yeah.
didn't find it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's hard, dude, because unfortunately, that's even in our society today, I think that tattoos are insanely more widely accepted than they were 15,
sure.
20 years ago. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like you walk in the church and everybody goes,
Yeah.
oh my God. It's not like that anymore. But that same, I don't even want to say spirit, but that same spirit is very much there. It's just now it's in a more cliquey kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's either you belong to this life group or you belong to that life
Yeah.
group. And if you belong to this life group, you're not really in the same clique with these people.
Yeah.
But on the surface, everybody's glad that you're here. Hey, we're glad you're here. Yada yada yada.
That's one of the reasons I'd been out of church for about a year when I met Farron. Actually, I went to his church because I heard Barry's podcast, and I was like, I'm gonna go see what that's about, you know. But
It's okay. I've been out of church for a decade.
I
so.
gave up. I'm still, no offense to anybody from church or you,
Sure.
I'm still kind of gave up on church.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's where it's at.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's the attitude you should have even if you're going to church.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't I put for a long time, hey, I can fix me by getting there.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Yeah.
You got to
Well,
fix you by
You got to fix you.
The purpose of the
it's between
church-
you and God, man.
Yep.
The purpose of the church, as far as I'm concerned, is for the community aspect.
It's just fellowship.
Because you can
That's all it
have
should be, yep.
you can have the relationship with Jesus like Casey and his family does if you don't go.
Oh, yeah.
You can
Yeah.
still have that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that go to church every Sunday that do not have a relationship with Jesus and Jesus as a foundation of their family like you do.
He said that.
And
He
you
said
don't go.
not everyone that cries, Lord, Lord, will be.
Yeah.
You know, something that I'm thinking of, and I don't know, this might be a silly. You said a while ago, I said all that to say this, so I get to say imperfect analogy.
imperfect analogy.
No, it's not even an analogy. I just said that. But I shared a clip this week that actually Courtney sent us. I don't know if you had a
I
chance
didn't
to look
get to
at
watch it though, dude.
I shared
do
it.
have
I went ahead and
I do have
posted
it queued
it.
up.
I shared it on our Facebook page. Okay, I don't know much about him. All I know is he's got a great voice, but I don't really listen to him. But this dude, Jelly Roll.
Oh, I love Joe.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I know he's got a great voice. I don't know nothing else about him.
I don't listen to his
so I'm
music.
not-
I like him and his wife as people.
Yeah.
Well, and see, there you go. Because I
and
don't
I'm
know
not-
him and his
there's
wife as
nothing
people.
wrong with his music.
I don't know him and his wife as people. So that's why I'm saying I'm not endorsing this guy because I don't know anything about him. I'm probably going to check it out more now.
I'll endorse
But
it.
anyway, the clip that I shared, and somebody sent that to me and you over the phone. The clip, it's not very long, but it's Jelly Roll calling out to church.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what he said is, he said, sometimes I think Jesus is going to have to die again because he said all of these religious people are being the opposite of him.
Yeah.
He said things that we say all the time that we take for granted, but maybe people that have never been in church don't, about who Jesus spent his time with and who he hung out with. Being with the woman at the well, being with the prostitutes and the
thieves,
sinners.
liars, and the whores,
thieves.
man.
That's who he spent his time with. And Jelly Roll was saying the very same people that the so-called church is condemning, he said the first people to mistreat my wife are the church women.
Yeah. And they're the ones that killed Jesus. And they're the ones that strung him up.
This is the crazy part about it.
Yeah.
Is we can say whatever we want on this show. I mean, I don't give a shit. Casey at dothedamnshow.com. That's the email for it. The problem is the church.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
Yep.
That is the problem.
Crazy part for me that I agree with every bit of that. So don't take this as me disagreeing. It's me, and if anything, embellishing it. But it's almost like when you get God in your life, it's not that he changes you. He gives you the tools to change you.
Yep.
It's like your dad handing you a toolbox, they fix your truck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's to me, that's how he works for me.
Right.
You know, like I never even looked at Colossians before this last month. And that's, to me, that's one of the keys in the Bible.
Yeah.
To read that book and understand what he's writing about.
Yeah.
That's life changing, man.
Yeah.
That's not a
and that's because it's relationship.
Yeah, but
it's relationship. So I'm not saying the church is bad. I'm just saying people don't walk in with that relationship. Their relationship ends at what the pastor ended, the last word that he said, and that's the end of the relationship. And that's not what it was meant for. It's not meant as a social club to feel good about myself or feel bad.
What hurts me is that there are some. I mean, I'm going to have to say that I'm sure that they're unfortunately few and far between, but there are some congregations, there are some actual pastors that are preaching the word and preaching the relationship and preaching grace and preaching acceptance, but because so many more are not, then they're all lumped into the church is bad. And if you've had a bad experience in church, then why are you going to think that another one is not bad?
I think there's a whole lot of pastors out there, dude, that do a phenomenal job of guiding people in a correct light and encouragement of having a genuine relationship with God. But our society, the people of the church, are the ones that begin to twist that.
Yeah.
And they don't, because the relationship stops.
Yeah.
If I go home and kiss my wife one day a week, our marriage is going to fall apart because there's no intimacy.
Yeah.
There's no relationship there.
I didn't, speaking of bad, you said something about bad experience. I didn't have a good experience in church until like 3 years ago. I met a guy named, I'm going to name drop a pastor. I don't think he's at a church right now, but he does do lessons every Sunday on Facebook. He's a great guy, but his name is Robbie Stingle. And I'm not putting him on a pedestal, but he had those things that clicked for me that he would say, and that was the first. I didn't even get to sit under him long, but that was the first guy that kind of helped me with that. But anyway, getting back to
back to your story. Yes.
The whole time during all this, me and Ash, my wife, were kind of dating through school, and like I've known her since I was 7, and so we're off and on in school. I'm getting in fights because of her and all kinds of stuff. I quit school at 16. And get a GED or whatever it is, and we still see each other a few times, And we basically, during that period from 15 to 20 or whatever, I started seeing another girl. She started seeing this really good-looking dude, and she marries him. That was me, I think I burped. She's
I'm trying to figure out which one of y'all that was. It sounded like a stomach.
It's one of them weird ones.
Like a hungry stomach.
Anyway, she
like a ventriloquist burp.
She married this really good-looking dude, man. Like, I mean, I could tell why she married him. My ugly butt or him. Anyway,
dang dude, did you kind of like him, and that's why you're bitter?
No. This dude looked like Robert Pattinson off of Twilight.
Terrible bad.
I get it. Then I get it.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying. Anyway, she married him, and she had what is now our first daughter, Allie. And a lot of people don't know this story. A lot of people don't know any of this, but she had what is now our oldest daughter, Allie. Well, so she's going through all this while I'm going up to this point too. I met my first wife, and we actually weren't married. We married the last year we were together, I think it was, because she got pregnant. Well, during this time when she's, me and my first wife were married, and Ashley and her husband are married. Ashley's husband commits suicide, and he had some. I don't want to get too much into that because that's more part of Ashley's story. But he had some big demons, man. And the day, I'll just paraphrase all this. The day of the funeral, Ashley comes home and she didn't feel right, but of course she's going through hell,
Yeah.
And she took a pregnancy test. She's pregnant.
Wow.
Man. Wow.
And the same, pretty much simultaneously, however you say that, I am dealing with losing my wife at the time has a horrible miscarriage. Talking to the point, like she calls me at work. She says, I need you to come home. I take off, and she's just cramping real bad. I try to pick her up out of the floor and get her to the bathroom, call an ambulance. I'm trying to do all this, and she's bleeding everywhere. So I put her in the truck. I got her there quicker than the ambulance was going to get to us because I knew they had that ride back too, And I get her there, and me and her, probably to this day, I haven't seen her in years, well over a decade, but probably 15, probably 13 years, at least 14. But we were friends. We should have never been married. We should have never been together. I was lonely. She was lonely. There was.
You're in good company, I can tell you that.
We met in church.
Yeah, we can relate.
We met in church. Like we were both didn't fit in. I don't know where she's at now, but she knows who she is if she's listening to this. But we went through that together, and it was awful, man. And in the hospital room, her mom was there, and I was like, I said, we both knew it was over. I remember looking at her, and we just knew this was done. You know, the only reason we got married was so you'd have insurance to have a kid. Yeah. And so I leave. I left her there with her mom. I asked her. It wasn't an asshole move. I asked her. She said she was more comfortable with her mom. So I said, I'm going to go to the house if y'all need me. We're both, horrible places. This is the first time I met God, in a sense. Not physically, but, knew he was real. His whole life, you get that feeling of, like people who say they're saved, more power to you, because I've never felt like I dropped to my knees and got saved. It never worked for me like that. I never felt that. It had to be just something different. But anyway, and if that works for somebody, more power to you, man. But I go home and I reach in my drawer, man, and there's a revolver there that was her grandpa's. And this thing was so bad, it's like a H&R 38 or something like that. This thing was so bad, the bullets were green. Like it was, I don't even know if the slide would rotate, but I think the butt was broke, so I couldn't unload it, So, but anyway, I didn't care. I picked it up. I walked down the woods. There's this creek behind our trailer, and I walk down there and I sit down, man. And I'm completely. I remember being at peace this whole time. Not even after, even beforehand. I wasn't crying, wasn't gone, nothing like that. And I said, this is the second time that I've lost anything that meant, like, what am I doing, Yeah. No one to pat me on the back. No one to say, hey, come on with me. None of that. Dude, I stuck it to my head and pulled the trigger. And it was just, that was it. Hammer drop, just click. This is when the first time I knew God was real. I was sitting there and it felt like somebody had took a blanket out of a dryer and just put it around me. And I don't know how long I sat there. I know it was daylight when I went down there. It was hours. And then night when I come back. But when I came back up, it's like the second time. The first time was out of frustration. The second time was out of love.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking I'm supposed to experience love. That's what life is for, Wow. I divorced. I put in. We made. Well, I mean, it was amicable too. We went to her parents' house. We told them we're this isn't for us. You know, we don't want to be married. We want a divorce. Her mom was cool. Her mom is still cool. I seen her when her dad actually passed, and I went and seen them, and me and Ash both, and they were just they're not the nicest people that you will meet. And anyway, we went our separate ways, you know. The whole time I go to work and I put in my notice, and I'm building I got this old Harley, you know, there's a lot more, of course, going on, but I got this old 1960 iron head Harley, you know.
Nice.
Chopped and all this stuff, and I'm building the motor for it because I got every plan of riding this thing to Mexico and just disappearing. I don't know if I told a lot of people about that part, but I'm done. You know, I got to go. Like, I didn't have a plan to go out there and kill myself or nothing, but I had a plan to go out there and not come back. You know, like find the life, find something besides this one horse podunk town that's killing me. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm on my way out, man. I'm working out a 1 month notice at work. You know, this is over the course of, you know, months. Divorced. I'm homeless, you know, at this time again. Homeless, living in my truck, but I don't want to, you know, because I still got money, got a job and all that. And anyway, I meet this girl, man, and I was like, I noticed her from the jump, but I was like, hey, ain't you don't you remember Ash? And she's like, yeah, she's still around. And I was like, where is she? And she wouldn't tell me. And she's like, you want to go out on a date and stuff, you know? And I was like, yeah, let's go out on a date, you know? This was when Facebook was first started. I didn't even have a cell phone. And one of my buddies worked for AT&T. He gave me one of his iPhones. And I had that girl hook me up with a Facebook account. And then I'm sorry if you're listening, you know who you are too. And I had her hook all that up. Then I used it to reach out to Ashley. Ashley was engaged to another dude.
Player.
Ashley was engaged to a dude who was he knows who he is too, but he was.
Wait, he didn't look like Taylor Lautner.
He's a big old dude. I don't want to piss him off by talking too much, but anyway.
I mean, it was Robert Pattinson the first time, so I thought maybe this time it was Taylor Lautner. I don't know.
She's engaged to this good guy. This guy's a good guy, but they're not really dating because he lives a couple hours away. You know, we just all went to school together. Because she wants out too. She wants a way out, and she's willing. At this point in her life, she's raising 2 kids. You know, they're. I think Allie and Ava were 4 and 2 when we got married. So she's done this for a few years all on her own. You know, a couple of years all on her own. Had a baby by herself. You know, all this stuff. And I reach out to her, and it's Friday, and she says, I got to work today and tomorrow. She was a hairstylist, so Saturday was a big day, and I was a fabricator, so Saturday was mandatory if we had a lot of work or whatever. I said, well, I can't meet till Sunday either, so we'll meet Sunday at I think it was Smith Lake, somewhere on Smith Lake, and I pull up, man, and she's out there with 2 girls, you know, and that, you know, this feeling, this time isn't, you know, we're not talking years, we're talking months apart, you know, so I'm thinking. Looking at these 2 little girls and this woman that I've known my whole life and loved my whole life, like only woman that, looking back now, that I ever really wanted to be with, even though I would dated other women and stuff like that. This was the only one that was I would marry, you know, at this point. And even now, if I don't work out with her, I ain't getting married again.
That's what I tell Hayden too.
She's it.
I'm done.
If I can't have her, I don't want anybody.
I'm done, but it's because the state of Alabama.
They ain't gonna let you do it.
I could never complain about getting quote unquote picked on because I always bring it up myself. But it's funny.
Again.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail your story.
Well, we're like, I sat in the truck for. You remember them back in the 90s, dude? It was up in 2000s. It was big, but the Southern Comfort.
Socos, dude.
I had one.
Always
had
one, dude.
Regular cab.
Always.
94, 95, you know.
Did it have the wooden cutout console in it?
The beer cooler in the bottom?
Yeah,
you know
boy.
what I mean?
Hell yeah.
You can't tell me that wasn't a beer cooler.
Yeah.
It's even got a stopper that goes out to the street. You pull
Yeah.
for the ice to go out.
Maybe it was for fish.
No, it's for beer.
That was for, yes, sir.
Big, you know, padded leather seats, you know.
Puffed leather.
Dude,
too.
it was bad. It was actually, I bought it from my stepdad, who was married to my mom at that time. But anyway, I roll up in it, you know, ground effects, everything, roll pan, and I'm sitting in that truck just looking at her, man, and I remember thinking, I love her, you know, like we've dated, you know, this ain't the first. A lot of people hear this story and they think y'all are stupid, but and we kind of are, because it was like you're talking a 6-7 year spread since the last time we seen each other.
Yeah.
Or 6 year spread. But anyway, I walked down to the water, man, and I sit there and, you know, we talk for a while, and she invites me over for dinner. And first thing is, you know, like, yeah, you know, I ain't had you would think it'd be, you know, sexual, but it wasn't. It was like, man, I ain't had a home cooked meal forever.
Yeah.
Because my first wife didn't
That's a big
cook.
deal, dude,
Yeah.
when you're a single guy.
Yeah,
You got nowhere to go.
That's
a huge deal.
That was my first thing. Well, she almost killed me that night, too. But anyway, I'm allergic to strawberries, and she cooked breakfast for dinner and put strawberry jam on it. And I was like, this is amazing. What kind of jelly is this? And she's like, strawberry. And I was like, oh, God. It took like 6 Benadryl. But anyway, I go to her little podunk 680 square foot trailer, you know, in the middle of the woods. And I walk in, man, and the whole time I'm kind of quiet, you know. I'm usually a quiet guy, but I walk in, and the whole time I'm thinking, this is who I want to spend the rest of my life. I want to get out of here. I still want to get out of here, but I want her, you know. And man, we started talking, and I said, "You want to get married?" And she's like, "No." I was like, and she's like, "Well, you know, you don't have." Neither one of us have any. You know, like, we're actually thinking, because we've learned, you know, from the first time. And I was like, "We can run away. Let's just run away." And she had every plan of us going to California top running away. Not California exactly, but, you know, like running away.
Like for real running away.
Yeah, going where nobody would find us. And I actually talked her into Decatur because I wanted to be close enough to some relatives that I had left, which are passed away now. But anyway, that was Sunday night. I never left. We married the following Friday. When we were in the courtroom or the courthouse getting married, the lady was counting up the days on her hands because I'd only been divorced for 2 days before we got married. So I can't make fun of her too much. But and we've been married 13 years, man. And so we both have, and there's of course there's a lot more little stories than that. But the whole time we were married, the people that have came against us, and I say that, I don't say that lightly, I say that well thought out. The people who told us, you know, like, you've been married before, or your tattoos, it was always this Christian-based stuff, man. And I was the Christian, not Ashley. So I was trying to take her around these churches and to these places and stuff like that. And it was awful, man. Like, it was just, you know, like...
And that's my favorite part. This is a fucked up thing to say, but that's my favorite part about stories like what you got, is you experience God down by the creek. Yep. And somebody will come along and go, no.
Yeah.
No, that's not real. And it'll mind fuck you. If
yeah,
you're not
they did.
Careful.
They told people told me that.
You end up going, well, did I really?
I didn't tell anybody
really meet God
about it because I didn't want them to think I was crazy for 5-6 years, you know?
Yeah. And that's what's happened to a lot of people, dude. And I think that's one of the coolest aspects about finally answering. My dad calls it a calling. I have a problem with titles, calling, ministry, stuff like that. I have a problem with that. But I think it was one of the coolest things about finally doing the damn show, no pun intended, was to constantly meet people that were in a position to where they actually had an encounter with God. Yep. You know, I was listening to George Carlin this week just because he's a comical genius, dude. He really is.
Him and Richard Pryor were the best.
And he grew up Catholic, you know, and that was his big stick with the whole God thing. You know, it's because of the religion. It had nothing to do with God. You know, it had nothing to do with, how did he say it, the invisible man upstairs. Yeah. You know, it had nothing to do with him. It had to do with the people that done that. And so you find people that, you know, you sent a message a couple weeks ago. It was a very encouraging message, which I have a hard time taking that stuff.
I noticed.
FYI.
Yeah. I don't ever expect an answer back. Just so you know.
You get people that,
shout out to Red.
You get people that genuinely had an experience with God, and if there's a trend, and there's been a lot of them on this show. There's been a lot of people that I've had offline conversations with in other places. The people that are at their lowest point, that's when they find God.
Yeah.
You know, that's when he makes himself apparent. And not everybody grabs that. You know, I've got a couple of suicide friends that are no longer with us.
Yep.
And it didn't happen. And I can't dictate God's timeline, and I can't dictate his motives. That's not my job to do. But I knew there's a shit ton more people that are still here, like myself and like you, that have made that encounter. And, you know, I don't know, you know, Deion Sanders. I'm not a big football guy, but now he coaches for Colorado or something like that.
Yeah.
College football.
I didn't follow it, but I did see an interview that he had after that game. And he said, I'm not here to please you. I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to do my job because God made me. You didn't make me. And this is what he's telling the press.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's at a point. That's where you're at.
Yep.
That's where you're at. That's where I'm at. That's where a lot of people are. We're not anybody special. The show is not anything special. It's just an opportunity for people to tell their story about being at the creek ready to blow their fucking brains out and it not working and God making himself apparent to them in that moment.
Yep.
And I don't give a shit who you are. I don't care what title that you have. I don't care how theologically knowledgeable that you are when it comes biblically. That is something that you can't take from me. And it's not rebellious. I do have a rebellious streak. I have that. I have to watch it. But I don't do these things out of rebellion anymore. I do these things out of, you're not going to tell me what God did for me.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me that the hook broke on the wall in the $12 a night, literally $12 a night hotel room, that the belt was around my neck. You're not going to tell me that that hook didn't break and that God told me or made an impression on me that I'm not done with you. The second time. That was the second time. First time I clinically died. The second time, I'm not done with you. You're not going to tell me that he didn't start making a work in my life. I don't care what your religion says. I don't care what your denomination says. I don't care what your board of deacons say. I don't care what your member base says. I don't care what your fucking small group leader says, because God made an impact in my life. He made himself apparent to me, and it changed my life. And it put me in a position to where all I know how to do is give it back and go, I can't explain this any other way than this. And I just want people to understand, and I think you're there too, and I know that you're there. I want people to understand. I don't understand why we have to go through these things. I do know, but I don't want to get into it. I want people to understand that there is freedom there.
Yeah.
So if you're at the creek and you're there with the pistol, physically, metaphorically, I don't give a shit. There is a freedom on the other side of that.
Yep.
But it begins with getting rid of the rhetoric. Again, I don't know why I keep using that word, but you have to get rid of the rhetoric. You have to get rid of the bullshit. You have to get rid of everything and be stripped down to a place to where it's just you and God. And I'll even go as far as this. I was talking to my dad about this yesterday on my way to Montgomery. Take God out of the picture. Take the word God out. Just completely do away with it and start doing a self-inventory internally, like a self-motive, and go, I don't know about this God character. I don't know about him. I don't believe in it, because really the only reason somebody doesn't believe in it is because it's man-made bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that you wouldn't. Everybody would cash $1 million check.
No, yeah.
A lot of the society will look at it and go, that guy ain't got $1 million. I'm going to throw it away. Get rid of that. Take God, take Jesus, take all of it away. Take every bit of it away. Go find whatever, just go self-help yourself to go, how can I get out of this, and start talking to yourself. And I say that arrogantly because I know that the God that I believe in will make himself apparent.
That's right.
When
That's
I tell this story, I refer to that section I just told you as chapter 1. When I tell my story to people, and that doesn't happen often, but the second chapter starts like that. I decided, when me and Ash decided to build our life, we said, her parent, to the point her parents are no longer a part of our life, like just because of drugs and control and all this stuff. We decided at that moment, nobody else is going to do this to us.
Yeah.
We're taking everything out of it.
Yeah.
Even God, for a long time. We didn't go to church for years. We took everything out of it, though, and we still prayed at the table. We still hung out together. We some people call it closing off, but we just focused on us.
But you didn't take God out.
You
took the church out. You took religion out.
Well, we took.
But you didn't take God out. You said you prayed at the table. You know.
I had to take my perception of what he was out.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
boom. There you
Because I couldn't.
Winner, chicken dinner.
What he was in my head wasn't right.
Yeah.
And up till probably 5 years ago, I didn't have a good idea of what God was. And I will say, my life, I look at my life as chapters. That's just something that has happened since I got older. I don't know why I do that. But the second chapter involves Ashley. And Ashley...
We need to have her on here.
I just started the third chapter. I'll put it that way. My life has just changed to a point where I look at this as a new chapter.
When you said that earlier, I was like, well, this is chapter 1.
Yeah.
This
You know,
is
and then we'll come back, and then we're going to do chapter 2.
Definitely.
And then we can grow into the others, because I mean what I say. I want everybody that's been on here to come back.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. You know, obviously we
I
don't
will
want
gladly
every.
come back, man.
We don't want Red every week. You know, but I want Red to come back. I want Courtney to come back. I definitely want you to come back.
Yeah.
gladly.
And
we want you to come back, and we want Ashley to come too.
because it's like an audible book.
Yeah.
You know, I've told him before, and I told another guy, I was like, you know, not every spoken word has to be heard.
No.
That's what books are for. But when you begin to stretch this stuff out like this, you can actually, you know, the story will continue over time, and that's the beautiful part about it being an audio podcast, is
And
because you can come back as many times as you want to
The
come
good
back.
part about this too is it gives people like me, who, you know, this probably, you don't seem like you're the type like I am, but I know he is.
I'm extremely introverted.
Yeah, but
Yeah, me too.
When you meet
really?
somebody you really
I'm not.
love, like, and you really want to build a relationship with her, whether it be Hayden or whoever, you want to tell them that story.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
absolutely.
So you feel like you tell it too much.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, I can't.
I
I
brag.
trauma dump.
I
on him.
brag sometimes about
But
how
he'll
transparent
tell you
I
the
am.
same thing 4 times a day.
Yeah.
But you, I'm just
Listen,
fine.
I brag.
it's the
I
number
brag
of grace.
sometimes unintentionally. I brag sometimes about how transparent I am. But if we want to get down to the truth of the matter, I can't help it. So since I can't help it, then I might as well just act like it's a good thing.
5 is your lucky number. So you only got how many? Well, you're on. This will be the 5th guitar this month if you sell this.
Oh, geez.
So maybe the next one you'll love.
You don't want to talk about the guitars and talk about numbers. It's a problem.
I'll just
a
keep
problem.
this one too. I got this other one.
Well, but I could be like you because you got like 30 guitars.
That's because my wife loves me.
Yeah.
She buys them.
Mine would allow me to. She's awesome like that. But see, mine is my OCD thing. I can't have more than one at a time because if I got 2, then I'm looking at them like,
I don't-
what's the point of this?
I don't even want to say
I got problems,
on
man. I got
record
problems.
how many instruments are in my house. I don't want to say.
Well, everybody plays them. It's not just you.
It's not
I have
just that.
I have as many instruments as I do guns in my house. 0.
I don't want to say how
You got
many.
a banjo here.
But it's not in my house. It's not in my house.
I don't even want to say how many instruments. Well, some of them are the orchestra or symphonies too.
Yeah.
Symphonies too, because my daughter plays with them. You know, the Decatur Symphony.
So let's talk
talk about hot dogs.
Let's talk about hot dogs. So you buy a hot dog and you're cutting your grass. So let's go to the questions. And so you're on a road trip, right?
Right.
Family, y'all are going to do something fun, whatever. It's middle of the night. You go in. What are you coming out with?
Oh, dude, a pipeline punch monster and a dill pickle Slim Jim.
What?
Yeah.
You got a lot of time to think about this.
This is a
No,
true
this
listener.
is not-
That's
no.
a true listener.
Listen, I don't have to think about that answer. I have known it's coming, but I don't have to think about
punch
it.
monster.
Lime punch, the pink one.
Lime punch, the pink one,
yeah.
and a dill pickle Slim Jim.
Dude.
Didn't even know. It was
Never
a thing.
had a dill
Bruh.
pickle
Didn't even
Slim
know it was a
Jim.
thing.
Bruh, if you ain't had
I bet
that,
you
you were
I have
missing
not.
out.
I bet you I try one in the next
I bet
couple days.
I bought
I'm in
one.
Kentucky all week next week. I better I find one.
Yeah, dill pickle Slim Jims are amazing, and pipeline punch, dude, it's amazing. It tastes like Hawaiian punch.
That's what my sister.
Kind of like that bus that Barry was driving, that Hawaiian
amazing,
Punch
man.
bus
Yeah, the
when Barry was
Tropicana
driving.
bus.
Yeah. They are amazing.
Got the
brother.
little dude surfing on the side of
Yeah.
it.
Hey, let me say this. You talked about him being a true listener, you know, and for
I know
real,
the answer to
like,
my next question.
Well,
too.
you told me. He told me earlier.
Fine, you just asked the damn question.
He told me
Josh.
earlier because it's today's Thursday. We're recording, and Thursday's when we drop episodes. And he told me, yeah, at midnight last night, I got the ding that alerted me that the new episode had dropped. So I listened to it at midnight. He knows the second question.
Yeah. Well, so what's the
Of
second
course I
question?
do. What do I want my message to the masses to be?
Nope.
No,
that's the third question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait.
The second
let's
one
go.
is the Christmas question.
You are not a true. You're
I do-
not a true.
No, wait.
listener.
I got the second one. What? It's Christmas. You're a kid. You come down. What's under the tree?
Yep, that's it.
You want to know the only Christmas present I ever got? I got one birthday present and one Christmas present, and it was the Ninja Turtle Dome. That was
Oh,
you know
like
what
the
I'm talking-
Technodome deal? Yeah,
and my
dude.
dad had got all the turtles and Master Splinter in it for me when I was a kid. I was a huge Ninja Turtle fan.
That's
Hell yeah,
cool,
dude.
man.
And then he got me 1 year. That was only 1 year I got Christmas presents. But he got me remember when Wolverine was yellow and black?
Yeah.
He got me one of the tall ones you see at Walmart.
Sweet.
They're redoing that, by the way. The new Deadpool is
gotta
going to
get
have
one.
that version of Wolverine in it.
They need to get.
Hugh
Yeah,
Jackman.
I've heard that. Yeah. But that was the two presents I got as a kid, and they were my favorites. Maybe because they were the
Sweet.
only, but they
The
were
only ones, but, hey,
they were awesome. But it was awesome.
What's the tombstone message? The message to the
Life
masses.
is short. Make your story worth telling.
Boom.
Yeah.
Solid. There's Josh's shirt.
I thought, that'd be awesome. Sure. I thought for sure, though, since he is the faithful listener, that he was going to crack something about when recording drums. I just thought, because he's the musician guy, too,
When you're eating hot dogs and recording drums in the studio.
And
My message to anybody would be the same message it is to my kids. And that could be, you had the whole YOLO crowd or whatever, remember years ago. But that to me, that means just make life worth living, man.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, because if you count on everybody else, you're going to be depressed the rest of your life. Dude.
Yeah.
And you're never going to live up. Make your story worth reading.
Yep. Absolutely, dude. I love it.
And what if you actually made every one of these T-shirts?
I'm working on it. I seriously
Beautiful,
am.
beautiful.
I seriously am. I
the
seriously am
best.
working on it. That way we can have just a list of it and put it on the site, and you'll be able to go pick whichever one you want. And
That would be
like me. I'll
so
have all
cool.
of them, but you know,
I would wear one every day. I would wear a different one of the T-shirts every day.
I would wear one every day.
that's the plan is
Yeah.
to constantly rep it all the time and have it
Yeah.
out there. It's just I got like 14 million things
Well,
going
that-
on.
I got my own band shirt. I wear.
That and I need at least one sticker because I need a
Yeah.
sticker for my car. Dude, we have to explain this.
Yes,
This has been sitting
absolutely.
here the whole time.
That's where we were going to
This
go.
is going to
So
be
explain it.
the roughest edit job ever, dude.
Nah.
Okay, so look, this says, and if you've been looking at this the whole time, you've probably thought to yourself,
What's a
why
muggle?
is there a Harry Potter thing? Or if you don't know Harry Potter, what's a muggle? Or if you're one of these religious church people that we bash all the time, witchcraft. Anyway,
I got a
let's have
whole
to
other
open it.
story about that.
So I'm in Everyday Sunshine, the coolest thrift shop on the face of the earth, Jeff Sharp's place, and I'm picking up some stuff because he donated us a big concrete tiger. I can't wait to have it in the studio. It should go right there. Anyway, he got that and he said he was trying to clean it. Paint was coming
The
off.
sign,
and he
Farron,
said,
the sign.
I know, but he said,
The sign, Farron.
wait, paint was coming off,
I'm
and
trying
he
to help
said,
you.
I was
I'm
thinking
trying to
about
help you.
Casey. I wanted to say Casey. I wanted to name drop you. He said, I was thinking about
fucking know
Casey
I'm here.
and what Casey could do with a cat.
He's on camera.
Anyway,
It's my damn show.
so I saw this and I was like, we need this in the studio. I bet the rest of the letters are in the side drawer and we could put whatever we want on it. So I pick it up. Well, then they said, no, that's all the letters we got. No muggles allowed. That's it. I tried to figure out something else to put here with just those letters. Couldn't come up with anything decent. So this is a challenge, listeners. Okay? Can you see it good? No muggles allowed. These are the only letters we have for this sign. But if you will email us something in,
We'll change it.
Put it in the
Casey at
comments on YouTube.
dothedamnshow.com, SuperFaron at dothedamnshow.com. If you can't remember all that, Farron.Davis at iCloud. I mean,
Put
come
it
on.
in the comments on YouTube.
If you,
Yeah,
put it in the comments on YouTube.
YouTube.
If you'll send that, we're going to watch that. And then whatever we get, as long as it's not, just ridiculously stupid.
Oh, no, I'll
whatever
still
we
put it
get-
on there. I'll
Oh,
put it
yeah,
on there.
stupid.
I don't care.
We're going to see how many different ones and maybe let this be a
If
recurring
you can
thing.
make hot dogs and titties out of those letters, I'll put it on there.
Listen, no muggles allowed. That's the only letters we have. So you
Give
got to
me
make
5
stuff
minutes.
with that. All right?
Give me 5 minutes.
That's it.
The
Yeah,
number
that's
of
it.
grace.
And we still hot dogs and Jason Such still
Hey.
don't know how those go together. Casey made it happen. We were thinking about maybe even trying to, I don't know. Did you make a hot dog T-shirt?
Yeah, I did actually.
Man, this is getting out of hand.
It's a hot dog
This-
pushing a lawnmower.
This is like getting totally out of hand. Like we're gonna show up here dressed like hot dogs or something one day. Ridiculous.
Oh, boy,
anyway,
foreshadowing.
but do not forget Jason Such. He exclusively sponsors this show, and he's done a whole lot for us. On top of also being in an upcoming episode as a guest himself with his great story. But Primetime Lawn Care is his gig, and it's going great guns, and he's doing great work. That's why it's going great guns. What's the number again?
256-606-3064.
I still always want to say 303 because you do that to me one time. 256-606-3064. Y'all give him a call, whatever kind of job you got. Don't try to call the rest of his crew, though, because I recently found out it doesn't exist. So just call Jason. And we always say Monday through Saturday, but he corrected us last time and said, how about Monday through Friday? So give him a call. Monday through Friday.
That's Josh, thank you for being
Bro,
here.
it's
Seriously.
been amazing.
Yes, man.
Looking forward to getting you back.
Yeah.
We'll go back and we'll come back and do chapter 2.
Right on.
That work for
right
you?
on. It works for me.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
So
Get
And
Ashley
the
on here
hat,
to tell
man.
her story.
The hat is the best.
say perhaps. Say perhaps to Dad Bods?
Dad Bods, yes.
That's us. Every one of us in here. So go out through
That's
this
why I wore
week
it.
and remember to be real, be you, and be salt. Go out and love on somebody this week, but before you do that, remember to always love yourself.
Yes,
Love
yes.
you guys.
Yes,
We're
I
out.
lay here in my deathbed and my journey's to a close. I need the comfort of my kin to light my way. Don't fret for my soul, please, 'cause I found my inner peace. Won't you join me as I tarry on the